From there, though, we recognized one additional problem, and that was the runaway complexity in our continuous integration and continuous deployment strategy, and which remained complex due to the number of languages and frameworks that we were still using in all of our web services and UIs. Now, as we notice here, each language and framework requires a different process for compiling, pulling in tools, and then actually building the Docker container that's going to be deployed and pushed out to our container registry. This also became a problem in our automated processes because as we pull in new services, we need to recreate this process based on the language that was used for each new additional service. So the nice thing about this, though, was that the Docker file was simple. Just 2 lines, pulling in a precompiled instance of the application and then exposing an entry point for Docker to consume. To solve this problem, we looked at utilizing multi-stage builds for all of our Docker files. This allowed us to wrap all the complexity for each one of these individual languages and frameworks into the Docker file itself. So the engineer who is building this Docker file locally no longer has to have any knowledge of the actual tools and build process to actually build an image for each one of these. That now lives in the Docker file, which is deployed with the source code itself. So this did add to the build times, but it was worth it in the long run because this also dramatically simplified our CI/CD pipeline. The big gain that we got out of multi-stage builds was a unified continuous integration process that was then repeated across all of our existing services. And this allowed us to have a repeatable process that we can then apply to every single web service that we build out in the future. This ultimately solved our problem of managing our complexity in our web services platform and allowed us to more effectively manage our costs as our web services grow within our cloud services. And this ultimately got us one major step closer to solving our bigger picture problem, which was deploying this entire suite of web services out to a customer site without the need to reach out to a third party or internal cloud services. All right, so where do we go from there? We are now one giant step closer to solving our big picture problem of deploying our web services out to customer sites without requiring a connection to the cloud and to the outside world. And now that we have wrapped up all of our services into containerized solutions, we're looking at employing technologies like Kubernetes to elegantly manage our scalability of our web services as our client base grows and as the load on our cloud services grows as well. So this was a really amazing project that we have been cooking up for the past couple months now, and it's ultimately taking our tech to the next level.